Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Before I get started, I want to go over my disclaimers. If you are in immediate danger, please call 911 or you can reach out to the domestic hotline at 800-799-SAFE, 800-799-7233. And for mental health resources, reach out to NAMI at 800-950-NAMI, 800-950-6264, and you can also text at 741741. With that being said, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. So today, as promised, I want to talk to you about domestic shelters. I personally have not lived in a domestic violence shelter, but I do know people who have lived, and I did a little research on my own just to give you some of the pros and what you may consider cons in moving into a domestic shelter. So the first thing I want to go over is the pros. So the first one is safety. So once you call and make that call, you're going to go in with you or your children, and at that point, that's where the protection comes from. You will be instructed how to get to them, and also instructed not to give your information out to anyone, and it's something that you want to keep close to you because you're not the only one that's in this shelter, and so everyone is looking out for each other as a collective. And then number two, they have caseworkers to help you with court issues. So say that you and your abuser have children together, and of course the first thing the abuser is going to cry about is not being there for his children and not being able to see his children. So there's caseworkers in place to help you with that, and also to help you through the court system, and also to file a restraining order. Because I'm sure you'll need that. But everything is done to where you're not doing this all by yourself, so you do have help. And then number three, some people may need the shelter just to get back home, and they help you with relocation. Sometimes they can help buy a bus ticket, to get you back to where you're from. Just like the lady in the story that I mentioned a few days back, she said that her boyfriend had cut up all her credit cards, and she didn't have any money to get a hotel, and she didn't have any family to where she could go stay with. So she would have been a perfect candidate to just go to the shelter, and then they would have bought her and her daughter a ticket back to where she's from, or she could have made a call to get the money. However, they would have helped her in relocating. And then number four, if you're in the shelter and you really don't have anything, you don't have, you've been dependent upon this person that's been abusing you, and you finally had enough, so you're ready to start over, they will help you get back on your feet with housing and working and things of that nature. So, one thing you may have to think about is if you have children, they may have to change the school. But like I said, all that is going to be help that you will receive from the caseworkers that work hand in hand with the shelters. And then number five, the shelter on the outside doesn't look like a shelter, so you would never be able to point out that that's a shelter because there's no signs, there's nothing to identify it. So it's all safety there. So those are some of the things that you want to think about when you're in an abusive relationship and things are just so bad and you just don't know what else to do, and you feel that your life may be threatened because this person is going off the deep end, or whatever the case may be. Please reach out to them because they can help. And now on to some of the cons that people may feel that they're not used to, or they just don't feel that it's necessary. So the first one is chores. So you keep in mind, when you're moving into a shelter, you're moving into a place where there it's just what it says. They're providing you with shelter and safety. So you're going to have to pick up behind yourself and maybe others. That's one of the deals. So you're not going to be there since you're not paying. You still have to put in the work. So don't think that you're just going to go to the shelter and you can sit around and sleep all day and somebody caters to you and bring you food and all that. No, it's not like that. You have to pick up after yourself and do the work to make sure that it's livable for you and everyone that's there. And then number 2, they do have groups that they may want you to attend, and you may hear some stories that are heartbreaking. And I'm sure if it's too much for your mental, that you can talk to someone that's there and tell them why you don't feel that you should attend that group. So I'm not quite sure how that works, but I do know they have group sessions there at shelters. And then number 3, it's all about privacy. So that means you can't go around posting your location and taking pictures and sending it to friends that may not have your best interest, that may tell where you're at, because you're not the only person there. So you want to make sure that you keep your location to yourself. So some people may find that hard to do. So I listed it as a con because some people want to speak about things, and to me, I think there's a place and a time for everything. So if you're in a shelter, this would not be the time to do Facebook Lives or post things or talk about your location. And then number 4, well, I did when I said 3 was privacy, and number 4 was not being able to post stuff. So hand in hand, because you have to think about the safety of others. So just because this is something new to you, and keep in mind, this is something new. This is not something that you're used to and something that's normal, but you have to abide by the rules. So I guess that could be number 4, abiding by their rules, because it's not just you, it's everybody else that's in that shelter that needs the protection. And if you start talking and start posting things, your abuser can easily find you. So be aware of that. And then number 5, there's a curfew. Once you start going out, trying to do things, they help you as much as they can, but you just can't go back to the same places to where you can be easily tracked. So there's a curfew, and they give you the rules on how where you're supposed to go and how you're supposed to go about life. And I know most of you may be saying, well, I have a job, and how is this going to work for me? So at this point, I would still consider going to a shelter. I would talk to my employer and let them know what's going on, and 9 times out of 10 the employer will work with you and will make it okay for you. A lot of people work from home, so I understand if you're doing housekeeping at a hotel, then you may have to quit that job and find something else that's better. So think about life. Don't think about the materialistic things that you may have to give up in order to save your life. It's too many of us that are just perishing for no reason, thinking that we can save this person that we're with, thinking that we can make them better, thinking that if we stay, they'll get over it, when we don't know what they're going through. We're putting ourselves and our children's lives in danger for things that we can easily get out of, And I know, like I've said, abuse is not an easy thing to walk away. It messes with your mental. You think about how long you stayed and what got you into this situation. But if you can think about that, just change your train of thought to think about prolonging your life and your children's life, not putting up with it. And I know a lot of women have tried, they've gotten the restraining orders, and it still didn't work, because sometimes the system do fail us. But you have to be proactive, and you have to be willing to take the steps for your own safety, because Your life matters to you more than it does to anybody else. So if you know someone that's in a relationship and they just don't know what they should do, please share this video. Help them and be there for them as much as you can without putting yourself in harm's way. And I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.